September 27th, 2021. Guys, quick update on CERN. I got a lot of questions about it. Could they be involved in some of the earthquake, volcanic activity? I don't think so, not yet. But look, what you're looking at is live. Notice your timestamp. It's saying the 28th. That's because they're ahead of us in the Franco-Swiss border. 1:39 is 6:39:49 p.m. Central Time as you're looking tonight. And you're looking at what's called the SPS, and this is what has to happen before they can crank up Atlas, the large machine. And it's stripping protons and electrons back, getting them ready for the beam injectors. And you're looking at live backdoor information right now. This is what's happening. Current user everything is at the top. And what has happened is if we're going to change to the LHC field number, and you're seeing there's no beam happening now. Look in the top right of this video. And it's saying that February the 18th, right there in the top right, 2019, that's when they shut down the Large Hadron Collider and Atlas and all that. And they said they were going to be shut down for a couple of years, and now here we are. They're getting ready to crank back up. There's no beam. This is important. This is called the cryogenic page. And cryogenics is what keeps the magnets cool in the 17-mile loop of an underground tunnel there in CERN. And when they're green, they're ready to go. It's cool enough. Now notice the only red one, it's at the bottom left, and it's the CR Atlas TOR and the CR Atlas SOL. But everything else is green to go. In the bottom graph, everything has to be below 2 in order for it to be cool enough to reach the speeds that it reaches, to collide these particles together in opposite directions to achieve luminosity. Now, this is also live. Notice your timestamp. It is now 6:41 p.m. Central Time. And this is the magnets. Everything's ready on the magnet level except Atlas. It's dropping off in the very bottom, the CMS solenoid. But in the middle on the left, Atlas's magnet is ready to go. It's just got to get the cryogenic temperature down a little lower. But what they're actually waiting on is that very first image that I showed you, to where they've got to separate the protons and stuff and get them ready to inject into the larger circuit. Now, the setup beam is true. That is ready to go. Everything else is false because they're not ready to use it until not only the SPS has enough electrons and protons involved in the injection process, then I think they will cool down the Atlas sector. But here, luminosity. This is important. February the 2nd, 2019, it was one of my last videos on CERN, and they had reached peak luminosity. They had reached synchronicity. And I'm not going to go into detail about what that means then, but when they did that, what they were looking for at 14 tera-electron volts was enough energy to bend the magnetic field lines or our magnetic shield on the planet down towards the Earth at the North and South Pole. I have probably 100 videos documenting that when CERN was peaking, our magnetic shields were being bent and contorted. A lot of speculation going on to what was actually happening with CERN, some type of portal opening, things like that. But in the older videos, I went into a lot of detail, guys, on how the current, when the sun would create an extreme solar wind or solar flare event, and as they were striking the planet, it would hit the magnetic shields, and they would feed into the Earth's North Pole and out the South Pole. That's why your compass works. And that then there's what's called induced ground currents. When that energy comes in, not only does it go through the planet, but there's ground currents created, especially in the northern hemisphere, and that go around the planet. And they're north. They're kind of like around New York and that area. But when you get to Switzerland, they go right over CERN. In other words, just if you're not familiar with all the technicalities in the older videos, they were taking advantage of solar energy hitting our shields, coming into the ground, going into the ground currents. And you can see at that point CERN would energize, take advantage of those ground currents and this tremendous amount of energy they're using. And again, it would bend the shields of the planet down at the north and south poles. Now, earlier in the process, when CERN was first cranking up, guys, they had to shut them down in the daytime because they were using so much energy. And again, on the Franco-Swiss border, during the daytime, that people were losing power. They couldn't get heat and things like that, so they had to make CERN run their high-power stuff at night. That's how big of an energy machine this is. And a lot of people would speculate, well, how in the world could something that size affect the magnetic shields of the Earth? Guys, the CERN magnetic field is 100,000 times stronger than our planet's magnetic field, our shields. That's why. But I wanted to give you an update. They're getting ready to crank up. We will cover it as much as is allowed because we're dealing with a one-world system now. It's all controlled by the same entity. It's a heads up, guys. Be safe.